Welcome back to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms. Like, subscribe, comment, share wherever else you're listening, and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to another show. We appreciate you coming back as always. I want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. If you are in the real estate market in the Maryland, Virginia, or D.C. area, please reach out to Adam at tacmd.com. That's tacmd.com with Douglas Realty. Also, he just put out a post, I guess, that downstairs from his office, there's an acai bowl place down there, which I've never had that. Have you?
I've had it.
Have you? Is that any good?
It can be.
Okay.
I eat them all the effing time.
What is it?
So so acai's a berry. They're frozen, so they kind of grind those up. So you have that bottom that's more like almost like a smoothie type paste of the berries. Some people mix in like apple juice and different things, and then you usually have a layer of granola covered in honey or agave, and then the fruit on top. And there's all different types that you can mix and make. Like they have all these different. It's not just like acai now. They have pitaya, if I'm saying that right, which they're pink. So the bottom's pink, and
I have a playa bowls near me and only.
Yeah,
and
so they're great.
They got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's everyone I've had is pretty good. The mistake people make is they go in and they buy it like with their kids, and the kids think it's going to be like ice cream. Mm-hmm. So it looks like it tastes one way and it tastes a different way. It's good though.
Can I tell you the other mistake that people make like me? I was on an acai bowl diet, which I was eating them like every day, and then when I talked to I was getting my blood work done, they're like, your sugar levels are off the chart. Like, you don't realize how much sugar is in those things, especially with even with the honey. Fruit have natural sugars, and but they're so delicious, man. I love them.
Yeah, they are good. They're expensive too, though. Yep. Just temper your expectations.
So Jeremy's back with us again this week. We've got Will from Zone 32 Podcast coming with us for a second week in a row. For most people that don't know, we generally record 2 episodes back to back. So. Actually, this one might go out before the next one. So next week, Will's going to be here talking about the Ravens with Jeremy and I. And
can't wait.
This week, so the reason why this one's going to go out before that one is because the Olympics are happening. Probably by the time that one even goes out, Olympics will be done. So wanted to talk about the Olympics. We'll start off with the opening ceremonies because everyone apparently got their panties in a bunch, literally and figuratively.
We all have our balls out while we record right now.
Yeah. Well, we got cups. I figured I was going to teabag this bourbon. So the big controversy, apparently, was that the opening ceremonies were a little too gay for some people. Because apparently song and dance hasn't always been in the gay category. I thought... So, all right. So, let me let everybody know what this is. So, all the Christian conservatives were pissed off that they thought the trans and gay community were poking fun at the Last Supper because the only way I can try basically Papa Smurf came out, was doing his George Costanza photo pose. For those that remember that picture from Seinfeld,
Boudoir.
And apparently, and then behind it, it kind of looked like Jesus in the Last Supper. But then, of course, all of the liberal pundits were like, oh no, that's about Dionysus from Greek mythology.
So why was everybody on one side at the Last Supper? Was it for the picture?
I don't even, I wasn't there.
That's just how they ate back then.
I wasn't there. Apparently they don't want to talk to each other.
God, people are so sensitive with stuff. I think a lot of this, people could say what they want. I think a lot more has to do with the feeling like as it's put, alphabet soup's being shoved down your throat over and over again. Look, Christians, if you are Christian, forgive them. Then we can move on from it. But the thing is, it's just funny to me. Like, you're going to get offended by whatever you want to get offended by. And I go back to what Chris Rock was talking about when he did his last stand-up special. That like people want to pick and choose what offends them, and it's not something. the thing that everybody took away from this is the fact that they thought it was the Last Supper, right? That's what they were mocking. And then they come out and they say, no, this has more to do with Dionysus. And when you look at it and going back to Greek mythology, and if you look at Leonardo da Vinci, when these paintings were done, it was based off of Dionysus, and that's what they were saying. And everybody's like, nope, I'm offended. It was the Last Supper. So we're not going to get anywhere if you don't believe what they're saying. I mean, I'm not saying you have to, but I don't know, man.
Then the organizer comes out and says, yeah, it was about the Last Supper. So basically that whole Dionysus thing was bullshit.
Well, and then everybody who was pissed off, all the super hardcore Christians who were mad that their religion was being mocked, then they found out that not only was the organizer of this gay, he's also Jewish. So this was definitely the Jews going after Christians. Yeah. No, I mean, why did anyone expect the opening ceremonies in Paris to not be really gay? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a very, very liberal place. And I'm saying it's very, very gay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's like a theatrical. It's like a very theatrical, over the top thing every year, and it's whatever culture you're in, you get a high dosage of that. So when it was in China, you got a lot of stuff I didn't understand. You're going to get some pretty gay stuff in France. And it is what it is. I just thought, why is anybody getting offended about the opening ceremonies of the Olympics? Just don't watch it.
I'll help you out. It was flamboyant.
Right.
It wasn't gay.
Okay.
No, it was gay.
It was flamboyant.
I saw that guy's dick and balls.
Yeah,
it was gay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. Like even using the word gay, I used it the other day, and somebody was like, "I was like, come on, man." There's nobody that's had gay people's back. That sounds gay more than I have. Wait a minute. Let me rephrase that for a second. Yeah,
it's totally okay to be gay, to admit something appears to be very gay. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that.
Listen, how many shows have people gone to on Broadway or down to the theater? If you don't think 90% of the people in that show are gay, you're out of your fucking mind.
Right.
I don't care. As long as you put on a good show.
Right.
That's what they were trying to do at the opening ceremony.
The gays do a great job putting on good shows. I gotta say that.
If we had to wait for the straights to do it, we would not have any theater out there. We'd be uncultured assholes.
When straights put on a show, it's called January 6th. Yeah.
Oh, no.
That was pretty entertaining too. Yeah.
That was wild, man. Like everyone, I had someone like, "Oh, you just love January 6th." Nah, man, I think they should go to jail too. The ones that were doing the crazy shit.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, though, like they don't realize how big that Capitol area was.
One of my friends was there, and when he went to it, he was like, "This wasn't what I expected." He went there for just thinking it was a big Trump rally.
Like Ron Burgundy drinking milk in the summer. Yeah.
It's like, well, that escalated quickly.
Well, the weird thing is, though, like on one side of it, there was like all the crazy shit happening, like with flagpoles, people knocking people out and shit. On the other side, you got people that don't even know that was happening, that were let in the side door, just doing a walkthrough and staying between the ropes. Like they were doing like the regular Capitol tour. Because someone opened the door and said, "Come on in," and they went in. They're walking around. They got the flags around. They're staying in the rope.
A
line.
Viking ran past them, and they were like, "I got to get the fuck out of here."
Desk?
One guy's walking around with the fucking podium. Yeah. And like, what the hell's going on here? But it wasn't like the guy's walking with the podium. He's got a huge smile on his face. I actually asked that guy a question. I said, how did you get that home? I was like, you can't check that. That's not checked luggage. He goes, I didn't take it and just left it there. I go, I didn't even leave the building with it. He goes, I picked it up, took a picture, and I put it down. And I was, but you had that going on, but then you had the other crazies going on where the lady got shot through the window.
Right. Yeah.
But the weird thing
is, he had a cop get killed too.
Well, he wasn't killed. He died 3 days later.
He had a stroke, stress-induced stroke. Yeah.
But from that.
Well, I mean, who knows what kind of stress?
Directly attributable, yeah.
Is that like he got in a car accident? Oh, he had COVID too. He died from COVID.
Listen, his wife could have been a real asshole to him. Maybe that was maybe he was really stress-free in the hospital, but then she came in and started giving him shit, and then he died from the stroke.
Well, see, that could happen too.
You know what I'm saying?
You never know.
Who knows?
You never know.
But the weird thing is like, people are like, oh, fuck them. Like, listen, fuck like the 50 of them that did the dumb shit because they're stupid. I'm sorry. Just like I say, fuck the people in Portland who were putting lighting those buildings on fire, who created a fucking autonomous zone, which didn't, like, what are you doing?
That was in Seattle, wasn't it?
It was Seattle and Portland.
Yeah.
And
there were people getting killed in that
autonomous
zone.
They wouldn't let police, they wouldn't let ambulances in.
Was that Mad Max 3?
Yeah.
Basically,
they cordoned off 3 blocks of the city. And they wouldn't let paramedics in. There apparently was rapes, drug use, killing people.
Oh, who could have seen this coming?
It was wild.
Was this the second coming of what was the concert they had in New York? The second time they did it, Woodstock.
Yeah,
the second coming of Woodstock.
Woodstock
There was so much
99,
nasty stuff going on there.
So they just put up these barricades around like 3 city blocks.
Was Limp Bizkit playing?
Probably.
On repeat,
They did all for the.
They were playing Nookie, yeah.
But yeah, whatever. I forgot what the original topic was. Oh, the Olympics.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing, like, if anyone was gonna like talk about anything from the Olympics, I get it. Like, Christians feel like they were targeted, and right now, I mean, all the religions seem to like be going at each other. You got everyone who hates the Jewish people because they think Jewish people run the world. You got everyone who hates Muslims because Muslim people are doing whatever shit they're doing over in Israel. And then you got Christians felt left out, and now they think everyone's targeting them too. Even though at this point, it does seem like they were targeted by the guy.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, okay, it was the Olympics. It went a little overboard. Nobody wants to talk about Papa Smurf and that whole thing. Like, why is the guy in all blue? What was that? And he had the beard too. Like, he looked like Papa Smurf.
Don't question art, okay? Yeah. That's not your place.
But I didn't understand the point of it. Like, why are you going to, like, shit on a beloved cartoon character?
Is he supposed to be Papa Smurf? Like, the funniest thing is, I'm not a big...
All blue?
Papa Smurf did wear a beret, so
what
maybe he is
blue
French.
And has a white beard.
All blue and has a white beard.
And a red hat.
Well, hold on. Now I got to go back to January 6th. You see.
There were no white beards there. There was no combination of all of it.
Yeah, you couldn't be a Limp Bizkit fan today and wear Fred Durst's red backwards hat because everybody's thinking it's a MAGA hat.
He probably is, though.
Yeah, I don't know what. Have you seen his hair, by the way?
Yeah, he looks like
perm. It's all the way out.
like what's that guy's name? The painter.
Oh yeah,
Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Bob Ross. Yeah.
Can't not know who Bob Ross is.
It's a very interesting look. Yeah, look, I'm not religious at all. I talk about this all the time. Nobody likes to talk about religion, and everybody's religion doesn't prevent me from doing the things that I want to do. It prevents you from doing what you want to do. Those things didn't bother me, and I'm not telling people they shouldn't be upset about it. But we do get this, people crying and calling for this. Oh, this has to be canceled. That has to be done. This is going on. There's so much mudslinging out there, man. It's nasty. And, I get tired of seeing this and having these arguments with people over what's right and what's wrong. You know what's right and what's wrong. And this whole thing, like the big thing we had a conversation on this past week was the transgendered athletes that are playing in the Olympics. And you got them in boxing matches.
Yeah.
2 of them are there was a site, there's a guy that's giving betting advice on transgendered athletes when they're fighting, when they're playing, so people can bet on them and win.
Yeah,
if you can win.
Hey, look, $1's $1.
That's a much different conversation. People who are watching a theatrical performance, looking for reasons to get upset, you can find something to get upset about in any artistic expression. I didn't watch it. All I see is what I see on Twitter. I would never.
Well, you can see enough. You saw the video, right?
Sure. I understand what happened. What I'm saying is I choose not to watch those things in general, just because they don't interest me. People watch those things not because they're like, oh man, it's time to watch the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. They are looking for something to get mad about. Mm-hmm. I get personally offended when cancel culture, or whatever you want to call it, because now it's not just liberals, it's conservatives doing it. Everybody picks and chooses how they use the cancel culture now. Canceling art in any form, comedy, music, paintings, TV, movies, whatever the case may be.
I'm so glad you said that.
Just don't fucking consume it if you don't like it. It's not for everyone. Yeah, it's just not for everyone.
The lady that was crying about Deadpool, she went 25 minutes in.
Yeah.
I went to see Deadpool, and it was so offensive. You didn't see the rated R rating? You went to see Deadpool 3 without watching the first 2? Right. Didn't you think it would be similar to that? Like, what is wrong with you? And the husband's in the background going, I'm pretty sure she doesn't do that thing you like, buddy. But no, like in all of this, and just talking about like what's going on, we don't get anything done. If you want to talk about the House, nothing gets passed anymore. It's just mudslinging, blocking you block you, and the only people that miss out on it are us. And it's just so funny because I saw that meme that said, I don't understand why people will stop talking to each other over two guys that don't even know your effing name, but you're getting tattoos of Trump, after the assassination attempt. And it's just like, these are crazy times with what we're looking at and what we're seeing. We had Weekend at Bernie's, or we had, this situation with Trump is what we were going to get. And then now, I don't even know if it's right what the Dems did with Kamala. Like, now you're just going to pick who's going to be there's no vote for this?
Now they're just doing rap concerts to get people to vote for
her money.
Right, yeah, it's crazy.
The wild thing about that is you got the people that were saying Trump is a threat to democracy now literally pick their candidate not democratically. Yeah, okay, we can't have this, right? Well, actually, no, that's not true. We can have it, but you just can't be that big of a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the problem,
now the new talking point is all Republicans are weird.
It's a weird on Twitter.
They do. I swear to God, if you ever want to know what the talking point sent out by the DNC is, just look on the Twitter accounts. Because they all post the same fucking message.
But I think that comes from both sides, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like when the word thug started, and then even now, like, what was the thing that was going around that they were talking... Oh, God, I wish I could remember this. But the same talking points. We did this thing, too, with, like, Sinclair Broadcasting, which is owned by Fox. And then they had... I think John Oliver actually had it, which we were talking about the other day. Like, they had the opening news segment for, like, 50 different Sinclair stations. They all said the same thing coming out of their to open. I think it comes from both sides, but there's really nowhere to get your information now that it's not slighted one side or the other.
Except podcasts like ours.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's
where else are you gonna hear France is gonna do a gay opening ceremony? It's just here.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we started this one 3 years ago.
You know what they should have done is the Andy Samberg from Popstar. The gay rights song. Have you heard that with Pink?
Yes.
Where every word is like something manly, and he in the song he's for gay rights, but he needs everybody to know that he's not gay.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
So maybe you play that afterwards.
Well, he's also him and Justin Timberlake were also the guys that did Dick in a Box.
Yeah.
So Andy Samberg just giving it to us as we want it.
Yep.
It's so disingenuous though, because the more they make you mad, the more people donate. And that's what all this is about. It goes... I've talked about this before. It goes back to... When was Obama first elected? 2008?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So in 2008 is right around when that website Act Blue came out. And Democrats were kind of first on the scene with this, because they've always kind of been ahead of the curve with some of this stuff. Act Blue was essentially now the central repository for all donations. So if you wanted to just donate to the Democrat cause... You could donate here, and we'll distribute your money for you.
You have no idea where your money's gone.
Right. And that's what. So, but what they did was, though, they made it so that individuals like you and me, let's say we don't want to donate the full 183,000, whatever the limit is, but we just got $5. We can donate $5, and this was a way for us to be able to do it easily, right? And what they did was they found out that these little micro donations were worth more than the big donors. Mm-hmm. And so, in order to get you to donate, though, in order to get your $5, as insignificant as that sounds, I got to get you pissed off. Because when you're pissed off, you click the button, and you'll donate the $5.
White men for Kamala, right? Isn't that what? Then they're
white dudes, yeah.
White dudes for Kamala.
Joe Burrow.
Here's another thing. How do you got white dudes for Kamala, black women for Kamala, white women for Kamala,
hoes for Kamala now?
Right?
That's not. I didn't make that up. That's on Twitter.
If it's the inclusive brand, why don't you do everyone for Kamala and have one big call?
Well,
right? Because it needs to feel exclusive for me to want to go. Right. Well, fuck, if it's everyone for Kamala, I don't want to go.
Well, getting back to your point though, and going back to when Obama was running, that was one of the first groups that started using, and I think a lot of people have seen that documentary about scraping on Facebook and social media. They were ones that really first started to use it, and then Trump and his team did a better job of it. If you were neutral, you were going to get littered on social media with conservative ads and like just hammered, and they did such a good job of that. But now everybody's kind of doing it and stealing that way. The interesting thing about the way that they're raising money is all of these big names, like the superstars, they're with the Dems. Taylor Swift hasn't even done her concert yet, and they're going to go nuts for that. So like she's raised more money in this short period of time than I think anybody has.
Yeah, it's all anger based though. Like when Trump got shot, he raised like $40-something million. When he that case thing happened, he raised another $40 million. So the more shit that happens to them that they can get in the news, the more money they're going to get from the $5 donations. Like the one for Republicans is Win Red. So you got Act Blue for Democrats and Win Red for Republicans, and they literally take these micro donations and they disseminate it. And like I said, think about this. It's more money than what George Soros can put in, Sheldon Adelson or his wife because he's passed away. Mm-hmm. It's more than Elon Musk. It's more than Peter Thiel. It's more than all those big guys donate in the background.
Disney.
Bill Gates, Disney, the corporate. It's ridiculous how much money little people like us are $5 donation. When you pool it with 350 million other people, it's a lot of money. There's certain ways that even, like from a lesser extent, this is a terrible analogy, but like when I delivered pizzas, I would save up all the change. Like I'm not spending it. You put it in a cup, you put it in a bucket, whatever you have, and either at the end of the week or the end of the month, you're like, holy hell, I just had $150 in quarters, dimes, and nickels. Yeah. And it feels like you are getting so much more, but there's so many people contributing. I guess it would be, you could get, if you had a number you were trying to get to, getting those big donations may seem easier, but it makes more sense to do it this way and get little ones. Well, think about it. All I got to do is have one just crazy post. And like you said, that like getting that one-time donation from a billionaire or whatever is really, it's a one-time thing, right? Well, if I post this one thing, within a week I got the same amount of money and I didn't have to do anything for it. I just had to post all over social media and I got all this money to give out. And the funny part is that none of these people that get the money give two fucks about any of this.
No.
So it's like everyone's like, well, this person cares about me more than this person. This person the best thing that could have happened to Democrats, and I know this is going to sound fucking awful, was that overturning of Roe v. Wade. Because you know how many people that pissed off and how much more money came into the Democrat Party because of that?
A lot of people are only going to vote for Kamala because of the fact that she's pledged to codify Roe.
I got to be honest, like that's what I'm voting for.
But she can't even do it.
Yeah, but like
the only people that can do it is Congress.
Yeah,
and they're not going to do shit.
But it has to change. Like it's going to take time to change these things. That, like I feel like having a basically conservative Supreme Court, it's going to help with so many things that they want to get done. I say they, conservatives, but like you're gonna have to get some changes in there if you really want to make things happen. As far as anything you're trying to get past.
But I'll caution, and I've got the example of why not to do this. They talk about expanding the court. Now, don't get me wrong, you need a constitutional amendment to do it. It's not going to happen. But something like that will always backfire. And I'll give a great example of it. The 3 Supreme Court judges that Trump put on the bench was because of Harry Reid, who was the Democrat senator from Nevada. What happened is right before 2016, it was the Hillary versus Trump election. They thought Hillary had it in the bag.
Yeah.
So what they did was Harry Reid had control of the Senate, and he was able to change the rule that Supreme Court justices could now be confirmed with a 51 to 49 majority. In the past, it was always 60. And in fact, every other judge, the confirmation has to be 60. But for Supreme Court justices, he changed it. And Mitch McConnell at the time said, you don't want to do this. You are going to regret it. Well, Trump got elected. And the reason why they had that 60 vote threshold was because you couldn't nominate a completely ideological judge now. You had to get votes from the other side.
Yeah, you had to appeal to somebody.
Right. So a lot of the judges were going to be more down the middle.
Right.
Well, now that you got
a judge down the middle, imagine that.
Well, but now that you got this one vote threshold, and in fact, if you own the Senate and the presidency, you got that extra vote because the vice president's the deciding vote. So you can go 50-50. Vice president comes in. Now it's 51-50.
Well, let's be really clear as to whose fault it is that the court is overrun with conservative ideology.
Was it the Open in Paris?
It's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's who it is. Yeah. She refused to retire through health issues. She was.
My buddy, who's a super liberal, says the same thing, and it pisses off all the other women.
If she had just stepped away while Obama was in office, he put somebody else in. Trump doesn't get that extra judge, and everything is different. But she's this icon and strong woman, whatever. Okay, so you proved your point, but now you fucked everybody over. You die, you're gone. You don't have to worry about it. And now Trump gets to put three judges on the court.
It still would have been 5-4 though. Because right now it's 6-3 if you include Roberts, which surprisingly enough, Roberts hasn't always voted down the line conservative. He's been on both sides of this thing.
But Clarence can be bought, right?
What's that, Clarence?
Yeah, he can be bought, right?
Shit, his wife can.
Come on, if we're going to talk about politics being bought,
it's everybody. Just put everybody on the list. Yeah,
like they were talking about term limits for the ethics stuff for the Supreme Court. Fuck that. If you're going to do that, you better be putting that across all of Congress.
Who was it? Menendez that was doing all that creepy stuff. But I mean, look,
he was money laundering.
Yeah. It's just
he's on trial for it now.
It's crazy, man.
He still won't leave. That dude. He's been dragging this out for 7 years, and he hasn't left office. But I guess like the whole thing with the Olympics and whatnot. You're right. If people want to see it and be pissed off, they're going to be pissed off. My thing is like, these are the Olympics happening in a different country, and somehow people are equating this to the United States. It wasn't a dude from the United States who choreographed it. It wasn't U.S. performers. It had nothing to do with the United States. Yet it's an attack on.
But they were mocking Jesus, and he was born in the good old U.S. of A.
Yeah, but now other people are saying, look,
he was born in Tallahassee.
Well, and it's not like France doesn't have some kind of controversial history with mocking religions. I don't know if you remember a long time ago that magazine Jacobin.
Oh yeah,
for the Muslims,
Muhammad. Yeah,
but I mean there is a huge. So even talking about this, as liberal as France is, there's a huge contingency of Muslims there, and you look at some of the mosques and things that have come up. They've had some issues there themselves, but I don't think any religion should be mocked. Like I think there's certain things in comedy, but people try to find Jesus in a dog's butt. It looks like Jesus, or the look at this painting is crying, and we have that in Curb Your Enthusiasm when he peed on the painting, came in with a boner or whatever. They want to find something. Oh, my nachos! It looks like the Virgin Mary. No, it doesn't. It's just eat it.
Did you ever watch that TV show Glee?
I did not get into it, but I know what it is.
So there were a couple. I was like one of the first couple of episodes, and one of the characters made a grilled cheese that he like. It looked like.
I think that happened in real life. There was a Jesus grilled cheese at one point.
But he called it grilled cheeses.
Yeah, grilled cheeses.
I'm sorry, I bust out laughing, and so. And for people that have listened to the show, no, for one, I guess I was brought up Christian in a way. I don't know. I was
in the church my whole childhood.
I was brought up Catholic. Yeah.
But I'm married,
not religious, though.
I married a Jewish woman, so I didn't exactly adhere to it. I mean, we put up a Christmas tree with a fucking Star of David on the top, and the menorah's in the other window. So we don't exactly adhere to religious norms in this house. So I guess if I'm going to get offended, I got to get offended for both, but I'm not. So I don't know. It is what it is. All that to say, like, I get it. Like, people can be pissed off because there are some people that are really into the religion. And for people like me who aren't, for me it's easy to point to them and say, "Hey, you should really take it easy. This really isn't whatever." But if you're really into it, I can see why they'd be upset.
I just feel like they're looking for a problem.
You can interpret what you're reading in that book in so many different ways, and this isn't me trashing anything, but you're like, sorry to jump in here, but like the problem that I have is there are so many things that people will look at and go, well, this is what it means. Well, how do you know?
It's allegorical. It is. The book was written specifically to be interpreted throughout time. So, like, obviously they didn't know what 2024 would look like, but when the book was written, it was supposed to be a blueprint for people to apply moving forward, and this is like it's word of mouth. It's old, and like we're hearing, right? The Last Supper, the Last Supper is based on something else, right?
Then,
yeah, exactly, right.
Now, normally though, I would agree with all of what we're saying, right? They shouldn't be taking offense to it, but then you had the creator of it come out and say, "Oh no, that was the Last Supper. We were making fun of it."
So be it. Again, it's like it's art, and maybe it's not the time or the place, but again, like it was his job. They gave him the job. He chose to do it that way. You know,
it's hard to be. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of what I'm passionate about for someone to make fun of and being like, "Hey, fuck you."
But I get that. Like, you should be allowed. And again, going back to what I was talking about with Chris Rock, it's selective outrage. What offends you? And there's certain things with religion where people are going to just say this offends me, and you can't say anything because it's against my religion, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. So it's tough. Like, I'm not telling people they shouldn't be offended by it, but if you're offended by that, you also have to be offended by the pictures you're putting up of Trump as Jesus. You have to be offended by all that other nonsense you're doing as well.
Right. Well, it was. We've talked about this one thing where, like, people that are so. They get offended when they see things happen to the American flag. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm as diehard as it is to the United States, But the guy who's upset about someone burning an American flag is the guy wearing it as a bathing suit around his fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do both.
That shit that happened last week, people were like, "Oh, they're burning the flag." I don't really give a fuck about the burning the flag part. I did not like the fact that we were just letting vandals spray paint monuments, and like that's just criminal behavior.
Right. Burning
the flag is a constitutionally protected act of First Amendment speech. So I don't like it. I wouldn't do it, but you are fully
That's how we
entitled
keep
to
our
do
house
it.
warm in the winter. We just burn flags.
Yeah, right.
No,
but going out
burn longer.
with the intention to destroy property, that's a completely different topic. So,
Right,
like,
well, that's vandalism.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was some distortion by the people who are like, "Oh, why are you mad about them burning the flag?" No. It's not about that. It's about a gang of people who intentionally went out, destroyed property that had nothing to do with what they were like. The statue didn't do anything to them. The statue doesn't stand for like bombing Gaza. So I mean, there's a lot of just people taking out their frustrations in ways that you can protest in a way that is, respectful, I guess, to where you live. Like, you're going out and destroying your own neighborhood, basically. I don't get it.
And the other part, when they were on college campuses too, and they were taking down the American flag and putting up a Palestinian flag, everyone's like, "Well, what's the line? What line can't we cross? To make it people outraged, right?" To me, like that's
different too.
There is symbolism, right? It's like, look, we are in the United States of America. You took down an American flag and you put up a foreign
It's also
flag.
private property.
Well, that too.
Right.
It's like, I get that I get that you're upset. I might not agree with why you're upset, but there is a line that shouldn't be crossed when you're protesting or bringing light to your topic. Like the people that block highways.
Yeah.
Stop that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're
people gluing their hands to NBA floors or Starbucks. Like, come on.
Well, one is bad PR. I'm sorry. If you're blocking a highway and blocking people from going to work in the morning, guess what? You just created like 1,000 new enemies to your cause, whatever it is.
And everybody that sees it. Is there anybody that sees someone blocking a highway and it's like, yeah, they did it?
You could literally be in favor of fucking rainbows. Not fucking rainbows, but you could be in favor of rainbows.
That sounded gay.
It did. Not where I was really going, but yes, it did. When it came out of my mouth, it sounded gay, just like that did.
Yeah, that's what she said.
I mean, you could be blocking a highway in favor of rainbows. Everyone loves rainbows. But now you just created 2,000 people that hates rainbows because you blocked the highway for them.
And anybody who has ever experienced that inconvenience, whether it's a protest blocking the highway or just like some asshole doing something that inconvenienced them, they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe."
Think about how you feel when you get stuck in traffic for an accident.
Right.
Your first thought is, "I hope they're okay." The second thought is, Why the fuck do they
When
block
I
my?
pass
Why are
it
they
by,
blocking the
when I
highway?
pass by and it's a one-car accident, some
I think
idiot.
you have those reversed for most people. It's like, what the? Oh, did he die? Oh,
There's no ambulance. Fuck these
Couldn't
people.
you have got over just a little bit more? Like, come on. Yeah, and the other thing, and just all the
I
stuff.
did that the other day.
Yeah,
I was pissed they didn't pull over.
It's awful. But no, like the other thing that I see with this too, and in talking about that, you don't have enough conversations. This is what I was saying on the air the other day. Like, we can't sit here and have a disagreement and actually listen to what the other person's saying instead of thinking about what you're going to say next and talk about this stuff. Because, like, what we were just talking about with, you could take anybody you want from the Democratic side or the Republican side and say, look what this a-hole did. You want to talk about Getz? You want to talk about, but people will blindly defend some stuff that goes on the same way that when you're talking about Melendez, you can't defend the stuff that they're doing. Like, why can't you look at it and say, this is wrong for our party, but this is, we're not going to do this, but we're not having this.
A good example of this, and this is going to be the Trump case with the real estate transaction. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, well, he's got, 32 felonies. Okay, here's my issue with that. If you're going to prosecute someone, especially an ex-president, for something like that, you better line up all the politicians and all the businessmen in New York, because they're all doing that shit. Don't start taking your victory lap if you're not willing to put your own in the fire.
But you know what this is. This is the whole Al Capone thing. Mm-hmm. Like, they couldn't get him on all the other things that they wanted him for, whether you think he was guilty or not for doing it.
Right.
So now, hey, guess what? Tax evasion. Okay, we can't get the racketeering, we can't get the murder charge, anything, but we can get him on tax evasion. So they're trying any way to say that they won by still going after him and doing all this stuff.
But my point of this is, if you're going to celebrate that, again, if you're not willing to put your own in that courtroom, because they all do that shit. Mm-hmm. I mean, that guy Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank said, "Whoa, this is what you went after him for? You're going to have every big businessman and real estate developer leave New York if you do this."
Well, do you remember Jon Stewart? They made a big point of this. He owned, I believe he owned some sort of property in New York and was paying taxes on it based on some sort of like assessed value of like $300,000. So he's paying taxes on that property for the duration of the time that he owns it at a minuscule amount of what it's actually worth. He sold it for $18 million. He listed it for, I believe, 15 over the assessed value. So we're talking about now basically the exact same thing. The guy's been paying taxes on a property based on an out-of-date assessment. He sold it at a profit, which I don't fault him for. That's capitalism. That's what you should do. You should sell your property for whatever somebody will pay for it. But then he's also going on rants about what Trump did, which is, when you boil it down, it's the exact same thing. You're getting out of paying what you owe on something on a loophole. And, then if somebody then has an axe to grind with you down the line and they want to go back and look, they can find reasons. And that's really, really what happened there. There's a million reasons that you could take Donald Trump and put him in front of a jury and convict him of something, presumably. But they chose one that is, like you said, it's a slippery slope, especially in New York.
It blows my mind, though. It's like you got, politically, you have so much you can go after that guy for.
Yeah.
You could win on a lot of different areas. He's not a saint. But you went this route and you made him a martyr in the courtroom.
And then a real one.
And then you try
a walking
to make him
martyr.
And it's just like, but now they're like, oh, he didn't really get hit in the ear. He had the bandage off. There's no bruise there. That doesn't detract from the fact that someone tried to shoot him.
Someone's dead.
Whether they nicked him or not.
Well, two people are dead. The guy,
that too.
The shooter and the firefighter are both dead.
I mean, one of the shooters didn't get Reagan. It was still an assassination attempt that wasn't good.
He didn't get Jodie Foster either.
Well, yeah. So I mean, it's just, I don't. But again, though, this is the stuff that gets people to donate.
Absolutely.
But oddly enough, this was actually going to be more of a Olympic talk.
Yeah, it took a wild turn.
It did. The one thing
it's the 2 p.m. bourbons.
So it is. I watch the Olympics at night. So I sit with the kids. The girls love watching the gymnastics. I don't like the men's gymnastics. I like the women's gymnastics, not because they wear the little leotards or whatnot.
So do the men.
Yeah, you know.
That's why he doesn't watch.
You know.
Damn you, Paris.
It wasn't like that when it was in America.
Well, it's kind of like men's and women's tennis. I find women's tennis more appealing.
Bouncy?
A little bit, yeah. There's more of a give and take. It's not like just one dude just shooting 150 mile per hour load at a guy, which sounded real gay.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
Wow.
I was like, all right, I didn't know we're gearing away from the Olympics.
That was the gayest one yet.
Oh boy! Again, that's probably the bourbon talking. To me, men's tennis is boring. It's either an ace or the guy returns a serve and it's over. Women's tennis is more volleying. It reminds me more of tennis, right? Women's gymnastics, to me, looks more. I don't want to say skillful, but the pommel horse is boring to me in men's. I don't know. I just don't find it as enjoyable. I don't like the events as much.
It's very difficult, but it's like, what am I watching?
Right.
Yeah.
Not that I can do anything.
Right.
But I saw Simone Biles do a vault where it literally looked like she was flying.
Right.
Like, she got so high in the fucking air. Like, they actually did the thing on screen where they measured the shit. And I'm just looking at it like, holy shit. Because they showed like 3 or 4 women before her that weren't nearly as high.
No.
Then they showed her, and she just looked like she was. It was like, I remember, it was like watching Jordan back in like his heyday when he would like Air Jordan, like, because he looked like he was flying through the air.
She's one of the best gymnasts to ever do it.
Dude, it was wild.
One of the best athletes.
Yeah,
I mean,
period.
pound for pound, yeah.
But the weird thing, I guess the point I'm getting to is, she then goes on Twitter and is like, basically saying "fuck you" to the haters. And now maybe it's just not my Twitter feed, but I haven't seen too many people hating on.
I feel like Simone Biles is one of the most like universally beloved athletes.
That's what I thought.
I don't, because like people either watch it and appreciate that she's great, or they don't. Like, there's nothing to hate on her about.
Well, there was something with her. There were people saying something about sticking her landing. But she had a bad ankle, right? She rolled her ankle or something.
I have no idea.
It was like she could barely walk.
Yeah, so
it was wild.
And it's so funny because I love women's gymnastics, which is such a weird thing to say out loud. But the Carrie Strug stuff was in my wheelhouse as a kid.
Right.
You know, like watching that, and I'm going, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Seeing her cry and Bella, "Hey, come here!"
Carried her off the freaking thing because she couldn't walk.
And like that's always stuck with me. So I've always appreciated it. I say this all the time about the Olympics. Like, it's not appointment setting for me. I don't know why. It's going on during baseball. I'd rather watch the Marlins play the Rays than watch something really cool, like even the U.S. basketball team
100%.
play. But when you sit down and you start watching it, you do find yourself rooting for your country and seeing some of the cooler things. Like, I felt incredibly terrible. And I don't even know if you guys have seen this. The archer from Korea, I believe, Korea or China.
The bee land on her or something?
The bee landed on her hand right when she was letting it go, and obviously she jumped. You train all this time and that happens?
A bee landed on you.
You can't get a mulligan? Are you kidding me? Go to the French judges. So they give me the thumbs down. Where's Chuck Norris? There we go. We got one.
Come on, China.
Yeah.
China.
So
China.
I personally don't watch any of the Olympics.
Even at night, like
Don't
the
watch
prime time
it.
one. That's
I
when
don't.
watch it.
And
Is that when they're nude? Is it like after dark Olympics?
yeah.
I mean, that's a different.
Check out
on
these
HBO,
rings.
right,
Ew.
yeah.
There's probably a channel for that, by the way.
I find it to be like it's almost like disingenuous fandom. It's like people. I feel the same way about the World Cup. People who have no interest in soccer suddenly are huge soccer fans every 4 years, and I understand that's kind of the point of it, and that's part of living in America. Soccer's not really a mainstream sport. There's a lot of people who love it.
But you got to take those people to keep this train rolling, you know? Like, it's the same thing we were just talking about with the Orioles and all these new fans that watch baseball with football eyes. Like, there's 162 games, not 17.
Yeah.
And we talk about that all the time. But, like, you know, the one thing about the Olympics to me is, like, I'm watching people do stuff that I've never even, like the fencing.
Right.
The one woman was doing it 8 months pregnant, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, what does that even mean? One of the guys that I talked to in the gambling scene.
You're sword fighting while pregnant.
It's crazy. Well,
You're gonna get your baby run through.
even
what are you doing here?
when you watch them and they get tied and it looks like they're going to make out and they're so close, I'm like, what part of fencing is this?
Yeah.
But they have so many different events that you don't know what's going on. And one of the guys in the gambling world was talking about how he bets on all this stuff. He has an algorithm for it. It tells him what to look at. And he was betting judo. And he goes, I don't know if I'm winning. I don't know how they score this thing. And I bet on it. I literally watch it and I wait for the referee to tell me if I won my bet. You know, but there's a beautiful thing about that. They're adding in some weird sports, which I don't know if that takes away from some of the nostalgia.
I feel like it should be
Breakdancing.
like a separate Olympics.
Breakdancing.
If the Olympics were track and field, gymnastics, swimming, and that was the Olympics. And then you had like the weirdo Olympics with all the stupid sports like speed walking.
They had that. It was called the X Games.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be
folded it
fine
in.
to me. Like I find the track and field to be like when I have an argument with someone about which sport has the best athletes, I say, okay, which sport can you go collect a bunch of men and women from, put them into basic Olympic games, running, jumping, throwing, swimming, just basic athletic feats. Which sport's going to be the one that translates the best? So to me, that's what the Olympics is about. So, and isn't wrestling not even in the Olympics anymore?
No, I think it's still Greco-Roman wrestling's still in the Olympics.
Okay, I thought they were getting rid of it for some reason.
Well, there have been all this talk like baseball comes back next time. Like it's gone now, it's coming back.
I think that's stupid.
But they keep doing this. Like I've been enjoying watching the rugby stuff, and the girl that's been just chirping at some of the women that are calling her overweight. She goes, "Yeah, I have a BMI of 30. I'm 5'10", 200 pounds. I play rugby." But she said, "I have 170 pounds of lean muscle on my body." Like,
Yeah.
They called her overweight.
Yeah, well, it's just people that want to take shots at her. Like, "Oh, that's not a woman, that's a man." And, I think she's a good-looking girl. I'd let her beat the hell out of me. I'd climb that tree. I don't have a problem with it. But I'd have her children, for crying out loud, because that's probably how we would have to do it. But like her chirping back at all these people, she was on there crying, and she said, "I'm sorry I'm crying, but I get emotional about this because people try to make certain people feel a way about their body at an age where it affects them greatly." You know?
Yeah. So like all these people are great at whatever they're there for. I just find it like what are we looking like? It's the Olympics, and again, we're talking about speed walking. The fuck what are we doing here? That is not in the spirit of the Olympics to me. There's almost like, okay, we have the Special Olympics. It has a very specific purpose, and it's a great one, right? You have the Olympics, and now suddenly the Olympics has been opened up to all these sports that just like you've never even heard of before.
It's a participation event.
Yeah, so it's like the gold medal in speed walking counts as much as a gold medal in gymnastics. I don't understand how that.
And it's
makes
unfair
sense.
to people that have baby making hips, and they just can't compete in this. And I'm one of those people. You're not going to get me swinging my hips in speed walking. By the way,
shit is hard.
The only thing I think dumber than speed walking is in the Winter Olympics when they do the biathlon, because I just don't understand it. Where you get on skis and shoot targets, like it's really cool, but I'm like, who came up with this? Like when
The Swedes.
were they sitting
For the
around
finish.
going, "We got to come up with something. Let's draw some things out of a hat. Oh, we got skis and guns. That's what we're
Did
gonna
you
do."
not watch the old James Bonds?
I get that stuff. No, I
When he's
watched
skiing,
it.
he's got the gun on his back.
Dude, back
They
in the
just turned
day
it into an
in
Olympic event.
Dewey Beach, the Grotto Beach Bar on Route 1.
Not the pizza. You're not talking about the pizza joint, are you?
But okay, so the Grotto Beach Bar in Dewey Beach
Okay.
was a hidden gem bar. It was like a tiki bar. They've ripped it down and built a new one. I haven't seen the new one. I think it's more in line with what like the one they have in Columbia.
I think my buddy owns
But
it.
they used to have. So we used to go in there when I was a lot younger. I'd go on a week long trip. They would have the bartenders have something called shot roulette. So they would have 3 little cups.
I've got a great story to go with
And
this
you
too.
take
doesn't
you
sound
take a
good.
piece of paper out of each one,
This sounds
and
dangerous.
one's a liquor, one's a mixer, and one is a miscellaneous. And that sounds like how they came up with some of these fucking sports.
So yeah. So to your
I thought you were going to get more into that.
well,
And I
I'll
was
tell
like,
you. So
I'm
the
gonna
worst
throw
one I
up.
ever saw was tequila, triple sec, and milk.
that,
You do them blind?
Yes. Well, no, you know what's coming, but you have to do whatever
so
you pull.
my buddy we were at Little Havana one night and we were waiting on some friends to show up, and he goes, "I think I came up with a game." And it's the creation of a bomb with ring toss. So you take some straws at the bar, you turn it into a handcrafted ring, and you ask the bartender to pick a number, don't tell you, and then you pick a beer. I hope this is making sense. So whatever beer they have on draft, then the bartender counts to the left, and it keeps going around, and that's what your base is going to be. And then you play ring toss to get your bomb, what you're dropping in it.
Oh, okay.
So the first one I got was sweet tea vodka and Guinness. So it's just awful. But it's funny when you start watching it and the same things that you're talking about. My one buddy threw the ring down at the Little Havana, and there was a ketchup bottle next to like the Absolute vodka, and it went around both. And I said, "Guess you got to do both." And he did it. Like, it was just disgusting stuff that you do when you're a grown child
Right.
at a bar.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the sweet tea and the vodka could be all right.
Nope. Well, it's sweet tea.
Sweet tea vodka.
It's sweet tea vodka.
Yeah.
So
So
it was
what was
the-
the third part?
Guinness.
No. So
The Guinness.
No, that's the sweet tea vodka is a thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that sounds delicious.
Firefly is what it
Yeah,
was.
no, that's good. That is good.
The only
Okay.
problem with it, and
But you had to add the other thing.
Right.
yeah, the only problem with that, the sweet tea vodka, it's the same thing with like the peanut butter vodka that people like. You don't realize how much sugar is in that thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then the
Bad
next morning
hangover,
you wake
yeah.
up with those headaches.
You wake up with
Bad
diabetes.
hangover.
Yeah, that too.
I do like. I wonder, like. All right, my point going back to Simone Biles was, I wonder what's in her timeline that she feels like there is a bunch of haters out there.
Well, I'm sure she sees a lot of really crazy racial stuff.
That's true, yeah.
And
That's
she's
probably
also in another country. I don't know if she's hearing stuff.
Right.
You feel like she'd be beloved because it's a little bit different than being just somebody else from a country that's competing in a random sport. Like
And she's an
talking about one of
iconic Olympian. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess there was one ex-Olympic lady, and so this was a little bit of catfighting. A lady, a girl from the 2020 Olympics, I guess was kind of like, she basically said, Simone and a bunch of girls who don't try very hard. So she was making fun of like the whole team, I guess. But like I didn't like but she kind of clapped back at everybody, like not just at her, like the one girl that kind of called her out. I'm like, You went at it with a shotgun for what needed a BB gun.
I saw that Michaela Maroney had responded to a post. So it must be that somebody named, because she said something
there's
bringing,
two Michaelas. Yeah,
so
Maroney
she's
and then the
bringing
other
like
one. The
shame
other
to my
one,
name or something
Skinner.
like that. So
I think it was Michaela Skinner.
So
was the
Michaela
one that went
Maroney
after her.
said something.
I got to apologize for all Michaelas.
Yeah, and then Simone Biles liked that comment. So it was obviously aimed at that person.
Yeah, but she put in there, Simone put a picture of all five of them after they won, and she said something about 5 lazy, not try hard gold medalists.
Okay.
So that was her original post aimed at that girl. And then I guess Michaela Maroney did her thing, and then she liked that. But it was the whole thing. But I was like, it's almost like you did one whole post to try and like clap back at one lady, and now everyone thinks that you got some issues, like some mental issues going on because you did that. It's like, you win the gold medal, just say, hey, we won the gold medal. Like, don't take that opportunity to clap back at some chick, and then everyone's going to think that you're mad about some shit.
I think she's been getting bullshit too because she's married to that dude on the Packers. So
Well,
like,
he's on the Bears now.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, he's probably getting his own shit because he went from Packers to the Bears. You can't make that move. That's like going from the Ravens to the
Yeah, you can't
Bengals.
triple stamp a double stamp. You know,
that's tough. That's tough. She's over in France and he's in camp.
He's over in France.
Oh, he is?
He got permission.
special exception.
Yeah, to go to France for a couple days to watch
Okay.
her do
All
her
right,
thing.
good for them.
And then he's got to go back because
So-
the Bears are going to suck anyway. That's not like him being there an extra 2 days is going to make a difference.
Did you guys see the coolest thing at the Olympics? It
guy's
involves
balls?
swimming. No, the cap getter. The guy that gets the caps. So, like, if you're swimming in the pool and your water cap comes off, you don't get it. They have a special guy that looks almost like me, no facial hair, in a Speedo, and I'm talking same body type, maybe slightly better than mine. And then they cheer the hell out of him. He jumps in the pool, he goes under the ropes, and he comes back out with the cap, and then everybody cheers him. And he gets up, and it was one of the best moments because they said a lot of times you'll come to the Olympics and you won't see a cap come off, but they have a guy there for it. Like, I don't know if people realize this, they have lifeguards at the Olympics. And people go, why the hell would you have that? Because none of these guys are going to. Yeah, but they say it's in case a fan accidentally walks into the pool, which is, by the way, never happened.
How could that possibly happen?
Yeah, that's why they're there.
Maybe
Is the
that's what
Secret Service running security over there or
The
what?
Olympics need that. They need a streaker like they have in
Yeah.
baseball. Someone's got to jump the fence and get in that pool. We need that.
And there were a lot of other cool things, like Flava Flav sponsored the women's
That
polo
is very
team.
cool.
That is awesome.
Water polo.
That is very
awesome.
cool.
And because, like a lot of these Olympic athletes, you think about these sports that they're playing and how things go. Like, it's tough to raise money. You got to get sponsors. And some of these people are competing, working other jobs as well, which is just crazy.
I mean, think about minor league baseball players. If you don't sign like a big slotted bonus when you get drafted, you're poor as fuck until you make it to the.
Oh,
to
people don't
Major League
realize that
Baseball.
they're looking for places to stay sometimes.
Yeah.
Like they'll live with families if
Right.
you have a spare bedroom and
Yeah.
you let them.
It's crazy.
Which, by the way, the fact that an Olympic team needs a private citizen to sponsor them, as a country it's the richest country on earth.
We're paying for 2 wars right now.
Well, we're paying for a lot of that and a lot of other things that probably aren't full-fledged wars that are wars.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other shit. Like, we're giving hundreds and hundreds of billions to Raytheon to build a missile. Like, maybe we can do with one less missile and maybe fully fund the Olympic athletes so they don't have to work 5 jobs.
If they made that missile that killed that dude in Iran, then worth the investment. But yeah.
But we got to replace that, though.
He died like a dog. Yeah.
Look, if you used it, you got to replace it.
There's more than one missile.
So but every time you use one, you need 10. If you use
Price
one,
of the brick
you
went
still
up
gonna
when
have
that
10.
thing hit its target.
Right. I mean, so, but yeah, it's like we need Flavor Flav to really kick in some money for the women's.
Where's
polo team.
Ryan Reynolds in this? This guy that seems like
Buying
it's
soccer-
way up his alley.
Buying soccer teams and shit out
Yeah.
in Wales. Couldn't have bought one in England, huh? Bought one in Wales.
He could probably
Cheaper.
bankroll a bunch of Olympic athletes.
You think? Right. The weird thing is, I don't understand the whole concept of that. Like, to me, it's like it's the U.S. team. I get them having jobs and whatnot. You don't got to fund that, but put them up in a nice fucking hotel. They're sleeping on a cardboard bed.
Yeah, those things are terrible.
It's really the same idea as like a Division I athletic program at like LSU or Alabama. Like there's obviously the football team and the basketball team are making all the money, and everybody else benefits from it. So why is that not the case for the Olympics? I don't understand.
Look, this goes back to all the stuff with Title IX when we watch the men's basketball teams in college, as you point out, getting like these state-of-the-art gyms, and the women are lifting weights at a Marriott in the freaking hallway. You're like, what is going
They
on
turned
here?
a conference room into a makeshift
Yeah,
gym.
there's so many things like that. It does make you wonder about these people that are constantly like trying to continue their career as an athlete and doing what they do in a sport where you're not going to go necessarily pro. Your pros are the Olympics, but what do you make off of it unless you're going to sell that gold medal, which I don't think anybody wants to.
Well, that's what that rugby girl. Mm-hmm. She's got 2 million followers, and I'll put followers in air quotes because I don't know if they're real. Like we got followers; they ain't fucking real.
Yeah.
Like I tell Mike this all the time. If we have a follower count, cut that shit in half at least. Mm-hmm. The rest of them are bots and OnlyFans chicks. They're trying to get people to click on shit. But beside the point,
I made friends with them.
Yeah, well, they're nice ladies. They're there.
Their nudes in their profile in their bio. If you didn't know that.
I'm losing my track of thought. No, but she has enough of an Instagram following though, where she can turn that into money.
Yeah,
for
she's
sure.
in the minority though.
Yeah,
but she also curated that
for now. A lot. Sure. This is going to be the norm. Because,
yeah.
I mean, NIL's changed everything.
Yeah.
Well, Livy Dunn has changed everything.
Well, it's why Caitlin Clark has a following in the NBA, and Angel Reese has a following in the NBA.
Okay, so we're talking about the Olympics.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark should have been on that team. And now they're saying if they were making the selections now, she would be on the team.
She probably would because of how she finished the season.
Right.
I was fine with her not making it, but I do think it was more political than it was. Like, there are 12 girls in the league that are as good or better than Caitlin. Sure. Will that be the case in a couple of years? Will that be
But not those 12.
I don't know.
Diana Taurasi, 42 years old, has been to 5 Olympics.
She's still a great basketball
player. She is
player.
good, but even like you put them side by side. Side by side, it's a perfect
that's why
torch
I'm saying,
passing moment. You know?
There's no reason why I'm not blaming Diana Taurasi for wanting to go win another gold medal. I'm not even blaming the WNBA for asking her. But the deal is, if they had Caitlin Clark go, she would have gotten that Jason Tatum treatment, and everybody would have been pissed off.
Probably.
And then that's the sad part about it.
But you throw her in for a couple minutes. You're talking about a team who's going to steamroll the competition. My thing was that with her was, your WNBA league just got a significant boost in followers and views, right? You could have carried that over to the Olympics, because it's not like a ton of people are watching the women's Olympics basketball team. You could have parlayed her followings.
Yeah, but it's
Angel
not,
Reese's following. You could have parlayed all that.
They don't
into
care
more.
about that following thing. Like they were more worried.
Followings is money, though.
I understand that, but for the basketball team, they're already getting their money. They're taken care of. Like they're not worried about what they're going to get from this. They're just trying to win a gold medal.
I think what you mean is the league. So WNBA as a whole, as a league. Like they just got an offer, I believe, a TV offer for $2.2 billion for 10 years, and they rejected it as they should, as being a lowball offer. They should get 5 times that much because we've just seen it jump in popularity exponentially this year. Now it's not going to jump exponentially every single year, but I don't see it subsiding because now you have this buzz around Caitlin Clark. They're going to be looking for the next Caitlin Clark and now there is probably not a next Caitlin Clark, but there's going to be another
There's
girl.
girls that are better than her in college right now.
There's Paige Buchers is the next.
Yeah, exactly. But
Juju with USC is
and I'm gonna say that UConn fucked women's basketball.
Oh yeah, because they have like 5 of the best girls on one team.
Well, not only that, nobody's watching UConn. UConn isn't a big enough school, doesn't have a big enough following. Iowa's in the Big Ten. Like it or not, they've got a bigger following than UConn does. South Carolina down with what's her face,
Dawn Staley.
Yeah, it's in the
I
SEC.
think UConn women still has a huge following because they were so successful.
But there's something different when you're in that big of a conference and you're on the biggest stage. I mean,
UConn doesn't play typically on their schedule. They're not playing a team that can challenge them unless it's like a few years ago it was Stanford. Now it's South Carolina or Iowa or whoever. But yeah, no, what you're saying it's true.
Yeah.
But that's why putting more eyeballs on the sport in general. People are like, oh, the U.S. women's team, they don't care about marketing. Yeah, no shit. This is bigger than the U.S. women's team at this Olympics. It's women's basketball is a growing sport in popularity, not girls playing it, but people watching it. If you want it to be a consumable, an entity that people seek out, I've watched more WNBA games this season than I've ever watched in my entire life before. I actually find it more entertaining to watch a WNBA game than an NBA game, personally. I think WNBA or NBA games are kind of boring. That's how I feel.
I watch both. I've seen.
But to talk about it, the people that pick the Olympic team are the same people that have run that league for 27 years into non-existence.
Yeah,
it's not being run right.
But it took time to build this up. We had to get.
Now hold on.
Yeah.
The MLS, the Major League Soccer is not a main sport in this country. Those stadiums sell out.
But how many teams are there?
I think there's 20-something.
Yeah.
So
it's been around a while. It's been around 30 years.
It's been around about the same time as the WNBA. Yeah. You essentially took a sport that was non-existent in this country as far as fandom goes. Youth sport's huge. Fandom-wise, non-existent.
But there was nothing more non-existent than women's basketball.
But it was basketball.
It doesn't matter. Like they were losing money to start out.
And they had the soccer teams playing in NFL stadiums, and now they've built these stadiums that accommodate that crowd perfectly.
All the illegals they let in.
But go look at the price of a DC United ticket right now.
Well, I'm not saying that's
crazy.
Beautiful building too.
But it's it's like $75 to go.
Yeah,
or it can be 50, 20. Like it costs more to go to a MLS game than does the WNBA game.
There's going to be a lot more games though.
But they're filling stadiums.
Well, and WNBA games, they're still putting them on at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. What the fuck are we doing here?
The people that ran the WNBA for the 27 years have done the shit. Like their marketing was shit. Everything was shit.
I'm not I don't disagree with that, but that sport was still going to take. It took something special, and again, it's weird with the Caitlin Clark stuff. Like I think she's amazing watching her play. But there are other women that are that play the game just like she does, that can shoot as well as she does, actually shoot better. Like Asia Wilson she's the best player in the WNBA.
By far. Yeah,
it's not even close.
Yeah.
But she was never going to get the recognition that, and I'm not saying this is something to do with color or anything, or race or whatever. But like when you look at it, she didn't get that following, and she's a much more complete player, winning the MVP every single year.
But I put that on her.
But no,
she didn't market herself.
I think she missed the window.
So like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are the first two to come through with the NIL money.
Yeah. So
but they've been marketing themselves with sponsors, with their Instagrams. Like the
reason people were watching them is because it was the black versus white, and
it was marketed
the stuff
perfectly.
That was going on. Yeah, but what I'm saying is when you build this up and you have players that have been better than the players right now that we're talking about, and maybe they are once their careers are over are better than her. there's a reason why people flock to Caitlin Clark, and I don't get it personally, but I've enjoyed watching this, but it's so weird to see people that's all they want to see is her. Like even the Olympics, when they got there, they were playing Japan. Was it Japan or maybe it was China? God, I feel like I'm so racist by saying every time it's like which one
on
was
yourself.
Jesus, I'm going. Which one was it?
Why don't you just throw out a name? Why don't you just throw out
Z? Anyway, no, because it's going to sound.
Z?
Yeah,
Jesus.
So when they played them, there was an Asian girl holding up a sign that says, "Without Caitlin Clark,
Japan.
you can't." Was it Japan?
Yeah.
I knew it. No, sorry.
It was Japan. They were laughing at her.
Yeah, they were holding up a sign, and then they beat their ass by 30.
I actually think that was a guy who was
it?
holding the sign.
It looked like a girl. It was a cute guy then.
We don't want to go there either.
So it was a very pretty man. No, but it just... I remember when I first started doing this 20 years ago, and I was one that criticized the WNBA, especially when people go, they should be making the same as the men. No, they shouldn't.
No,
because it's
absolutely not.
This is a totally different topic than anything else. Mm-hmm. If you want to talk two actors and a woman should make the same amount as a man, I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Right. But if you want to make more money, and you know that the Olympics is an extension of the WNBA, don't you put your most popular players? It's not about being a better player.
They're going to win either way.
You're going to win either way.
Yeah.
But why not?
Until you don't. That's what happened to the U.S. in men's.
But in this, the gap is so much wider right now for the women.
Yeah, but it was the same way in '92 for the men. Now it's become more of a there were 6 NBA players playing in the Olympics in '92.
But look at this. Let's say you put her over there with Angel Reese and look. In that All-Star game, they were dapping it up.
We just saw it. We just saw what it would look like. Yeah,
it was. People now love both of them because all they did was dap each other up in the All-Star game.
Well, and Caitlin Clark.
Now you're going to go to the Olympics. You're going to see them play together.
I get all that. I'm not saying that would have been a bad thing. I understand why they didn't do it. And it's not sitting here saying like Caitlin Clark to me wasn't one of the 12 best players in the league when they made this decision.
Right, but and my point is you didn't need your 12 best.
That's fine, but
you needed the 12 most popular this time.
They were worried about a PR nightmare for her sitting. Fans would, even if she played 20 minutes, they'd want her to play 30.
I get it. I think you take that. I think you take that hit rather than the hit you took.
I don't necessarily.
Well, especially now they say that they say if they made the choice today, they would put her on the team.
Yeah.
That's a dumb fucking thing to say.
Dawn Staley kind of fucked herself over on that one. She should have just, in all honesty, like they should have. They should have let her go over, and in my opinion, Diana Taurasi is the one that should have stayed home.
Okay, and what they could have done to get people to watch, NBC should have her over there doing WNBA.
Yeah. I don't doubt they could have killed all that.
Analysis.
They could have kept her.
Just like I know Livy Dunn is over there. I have not seen anything about her doing anything with the gymnastics coverage, but the fact they don't have her on camera is a huge miss. Yeah, I mean, people want to see her on camera for obvious reasons.
They do pans to all the celebrities. I mean, they're doing one to Ariana Grande and the person, and then the husband of Simone Biles, who's not even a celebrity, but he's in there. I forgot there were a couple other celebrities. They're doing it. Doesn't got to be the best, right? For the WNBA. Put her out there. Let her play 10 minutes because they're all going to play.
She's kind of she's money. And she has kind of. She's also kind of heard, I think, a lot of the criticism with the shooting and everything. Like, there's better shooters. Yeah. So she's like, okay, well, I'll just go out and dole out 19 assists. Right. Like crazy shit. Look, she's really good.
If you guys, that's the other thing. Everybody talks about her shooting. She has such a great first step and vision on the court. Like early on when you were watching her WNBA, she didn't have the timing down, and she had so many turnovers from tip passes. And oh, by the way, her teammates dropped a lot of passes too. And
she's not on a very good team, and not a very well coached team either. Yeah. But people are calling her the best passer in the WNBA now.
She's already broken records because of it, and the triple doubles and everything you're seeing from her. It's special. Like I really like her, but I can't wait to see the growth of this league, and it's going to be. Like I was pissed off at Angel Reese for trying to go for that to keep that double streak going.
That was pathetic. That was a Bush League move. Yeah,
but it's some of those things.
She's young though, man. Like, look, when I was 21, 22, I did dumb shit too.
Yeah, for sure. But it wasn't with all those eyes on you. It's just like someone's got to be like, hey, you're not in college.
The NBA have done that, right,
Yeah. I will say, like that whole dap up thing with her and Caitlin though. I don't know what with me. It flipped my. Like, not that I was against Angel Reese, but something like it flipped in my head. Like, okay, she's a good person.
She's playing her role.
She's playing a role. She's playing.
And to be honest with you, and I tweeted this. I think that was her mistake. She should have leaned into who she is.
Playing the bad guy is going to make her more money, man.
But the weird thing,
the money.
She's a nice kid, though. She's literally the player that's signing all the autographs. She gave her shoes to a kid in the stands. You can't be the villain and
he didn't even have feet.
That picture is like the Bloods and Crips meme where they're holding up the bandana together. That's what that picture is like. Okay, so everybody who's been fighting about this for the past 2 years can chill. It's on the court nonsense. It's it's for the cameras.
You only play the villain if you're a villain. Like Charles Barkley was easy to play a villain because he can be an asshole sometimes. Bill Laimbeer.
But Charles Barkley is also well liked, and I think
now he is.
He wasn't really though when he played.
That's my favorite basketball player of all time.
Right, so, but he wasn't well liked on the court
when he went to the Suns.
Yeah, you don't know the difference between China and Japan.
The Pistons were the bad boys, because they were assholes. Like Bill Laimbeer and Rick Mahorn were grade A dicks.
Dennis Rodman was too.
Right.
Was Joe Dumars an asshole?
But they played.
Joe Dumars wasn't an asshole
fully though.
I mean, Michael Jordan was the biggest asshole in sports, and he was the most beloved. So he was playing the role that he was given
because publicly,
right?
He wasn't an asshole.
Because conservative people buy tennis shoes too.
Yep. Bingo. Right. But I guess my point is for her is she's a nice kid. And don't get me wrong, I've heard Rob talk about her, and she's that dog and whatever. Mm-hmm. You can be a dog on the court and not be the villain.
She does have around here. I know Rob coaches, so she does not have a great reputation with coaches around here, opposing and coaches. She's been on. She was young though.
Yeah, I mean, she's
some of that could be hatred too.
It's a person though.
As a person and a player are two different things, right?
Like she doesn't have the villain personality. With fans or with other...
No, but again, you can play that role. I don't think Christian Bale's actually Batman, I think it's this persona that she puts on. It's like, did you watch the Receiver documentary?
I haven't yet.
So on Netflix, Justin Jefferson, who might be like one of the nicest people you ever see, he puts on he has a persona when he gets ready for the football game. And it's not like the corny primetime stuff. He said because he's not that guy, he has to become that guy. Right. So he's talking trash, the flashy plays, he's wearing his jewelry, and that's not stuff that he would normally do at home. So I do think she's playing her role, and a lot of people in the U.S. started off hating her because of that incident with the "you can't see me" and all that stuff.
Which was her just imitating what Caitlin Clark did to her.
It's just
like
funny.
that went all the way back to the Maryland-Iowa rivalry. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of history that people weren't aware of when that was going on, and it came at a time when tensions, as we've talked about a lot here, it's a divisive world we live in right now. Yeah. So when you see a black girl and a white girl at odds, and it's
defend the white girl. I'm sorry, I didn't know what you were. I thought I was trying to.
Well, it depends on who you're talking to. Depends on who you're talking to, right?
Nice words. Get ready.
It was like a gut reaction from people watching. It's two competitors who look like they hate each other, and I'm going to pick one.
Yeah.
And a lot of white people chose the white girl, and
you can't ignore race on this at all. And I know some people don't want to bring it up, but there is think back about the Great White Hype and all the stuff that was going on, and when we had Jerry Cooney and they wanted, you want to get this prize fight together, and you're dying to get a white heavyweight against a black heavyweight because people talk about it, they take sides. It happens. So I do think it played a big role in this, and there is something to be said about a lot of black basketball players that didn't want the white girl to be the one coming in and save the league, and I think there's some truth to it. And maybe there's nothing wrong with it just because, that's the competitor in you. Like, I'm sure if I'm Asia Wilson, I'm going, man, why the hell weren't they watching when I was winning my MVPs? Yep. There's some, I don't want to say hatred, but some genuine dislike.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's not, in this world, whether it's work or whatever, it's not about who's best. It never is. Mm-hmm. It's about, what's the old saying? It's not what you know, it's who you know. Or in this case, it's not how good you are, it's how well you marketed yourself.
Yeah.
It's just the world we live in, unfortunately. But I hope everyone enjoyed this episode on mostly the Olympics.
And gay stuff.
And gay stuff. We really did.
We were gay adjacent today.
We didn't really talk about butt stuff, though.
No, we didn't get any of that.
Oh man,
I did see, like, I had the story pop back up of the guy in France that had a World War II artillery shell,
89 years old.
Yeah, stuck in his ass. And when they pull it out, you can see, like, there's some liquid on that thing, and you can see it's just awful.
It was.
Wait, was that recent?
This happened a couple years ago, but the story kind of resurfaced because of it always does, obviously, because it's fun to talk about.
I thought it just happened when I saw it yesterday.
No, this happened a couple years ago because I did this story when I was working with Garceau, and then I redid it with the morning show, and now it popped back up again. But it's, that thing accidentally got stuck in that guy's butt, and we don't talk enough about that.
Someone told I heard that things don't accidentally get stuck up your butt.
That's true too. But sometimes
there's some purpose.
Like Eminem said, "What, you tripped, fell, landed on his dick."
Want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Douglas Realty. Sorry, Adam. Bad timing. TACMD.com. He's probably not going to sponsor this show next 6 months, but
we all got to buy houses now.
Everyone's got to buy it. Listen, if he's willing to sponsor this show, then he must be a good guy.
We're going to have to buy 3 houses in Mount Vernon now.
You're going to have to
appease the community.
TACMD.com, TACMD.com, Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. If you're looking for a home anywhere in the Maryland, Virginia, or D.C. area, shoot Adam an email or phone call, and he'll be happy to give you the best advice that he can, although I believe he's going to Canada for the next couple of weeks. So don't do it next week. All right? Appreciate you listening. Like, subscribe, comment, share. We'll talk to you soon.